Okay, so let's go through the text for GetUnitsLeft. See if my pointer is working. Not so well. Okay, it's working. Okay, here's the function mentioned earlier that determines how many units of a particular book are left. So okay, so we have it's a function and it's long. The name of, that means the output is of type long. The name of the query sheet is passed as a sheet name to the function. Okay, so we have that. The function returns the type, the value of long integer type. Okay, so the first thing is there's this is declared, and then we also declare these. Remember, as I said earlier, these are all internal to this function. So even though we have the same variables as we've used elsewhere, they don't conflict with each other. So if you assign in here some value to this one, it has no effect on the variable with the same name in another function. Okay, so they don't collide or conflict with each other. Okay, start position and stop position have the same purposes that they have in the getRank function, to bracket the value that you want to return to the main procedure. Okay, let's just remember that we are trying to get units left, and we are going to be looking for the phrase left in stock, and we're going to try and find that somehow, and actually it's not in this particular page. So remember, he said that sometimes it won't be there. So that's the problem. That's a problem that we have to be aware of, and because we don't want the program to crash in that case, right? We just want it to not do anything, okay, for this particular search. So we have to put some kind of error prevention in our code. Okay, so these are defined, and then let's see. So this, what is this? This is what we can call the default value for the function. So if nothing else, if we don't find GetUnitsLeft, I'm sorry, if we don't find the units left, then GetUnitsLeft will output the value -1. It won't say, oh, there are 10 units left. It'll output this. By the way, I just want to go back and check, when did we saw this before in the coding. Let's check it. Okay, do you remember, let's see, what section is this? In the get new data subroutine. So this is when we get that entire new page. We had this code, okay, and it said if next left, and what was next left? It comes from we apply the GetUnitsLeft, and we have to tell it which book we're checking, which means we have to tell it which page we're looking at. In this case, we're looking at the stats the so-called stats page. Means the statistics book, and that's being, so we apply the GetUnitsLeft, and if it finds the number of units left, it will give you that, but otherwise it'll give you -1. And now we see if next left is not equal to -1. Okay, so if then what do? Then we put next left, whatever that is equal to, into a particular cell. In other words, we record it into our spreadsheet. Okay, but if it is equal to -1, then we skip this. We don't put anything into our spreadsheet. So that's when we use this -1. Okay, going back to this. So this is the default value. start out by assigning a default value to the function. That's what we did. Okay, then we go sheets.sheetName activate. So what sheet are we activating here? Do we have a sheet named sheet name? No, we don't have a sheet called sheet name, right? So what's the purpose of sheet name here? Or what sheet is that? Remember, the user of the function, so we're going to type in GetUnitsLeft. When we type in GetUnitsLeft, we have to provide it with an argument, and that argument is going to be interpreted as the sheet name that we're interested in, right? So we'll put the sheet name into there. Okay, activate the query sheet, so that's what this does. On error, go to no data. So this is, if there's an error, we're going to go to this location. Establish an error handler to go to the no data. So this is an error handler to go to the no data label in the event of a runtime error. When it's running, it gets an error. So we want to prevent it from crashing when it's running and there's an error. Okay, what's this? Execute the find method. In this case, where you are looking for the number of units left in stock. So what do we look for? We look for this string here. Okay. There's a particular invariant string value that locates the cell we're after. Invariant. Hopefully it's invariant. Invariant means it doesn't change. Hopefully it doesn't change. Hopefully Amazon doesn't change it. Anyway, left in stock. Therefore, you don't need to pass a different string to the procedure as an argument. So I guess that's his point, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. He doesn't, when he creates this function, he's not, he only has one input here, sheet name. He doesn't have another input for the string that we're looking for because he says it's invariant, and so we don't have to worry about what it's going to be. Okay, maybe that's true. Okay, next. He activates that once he finds it. The active value. Now what happens if it doesn't get found? Then nothing gets activated, or some other cell will get activated. But if it doesn't get found, then an error will occur. And on error, that's what this tells us to do, it will go to no data. Okay? But if it does get found, this goes into there. The contents of the cell that found are assigned to the found string variable. Okay, what's this? This is the function that we saw before. The inString function returns the position in the search string where only starts. So left in stock is going to be a phrase, and then only will be in that same, will also be in here, and we're going to find where that is, and apparently near that is going to be the actual number that we want. In fact, it's going to be 5 characters away. Therefore, therefore add the 5 characters in only to the result of inString to locate the position where the number left in stock begins. Stop position is set to where left in is, and stop position indicates where left in begins, and then we do the same kind of thing we did before. This is the string we're looking through. This is the start position, and this is the number of characters we want to include. Finally, look in this bound string starting at stop position and use the mid function to strip out as many characters as the difference between stop and start. That's how many characters we want. Multiply by 1 to convert the result from a text string to a number and assign the result to the function. So this is the function. Remember, we don't have a variable called this, but this is the name of the function, so we can assign something to it. And then we exit the function. The exit statement returns control to the calling statement. In case an error occurred, though, control has already been passed to the no data label. So in case of an error, we've already passed this to there. So here's the no data label. More often than not, the reorder point for a product has not been reached. So most of the time, so an error usually occurs. When it does, control comes here and you simply end the function. Recall that you begin by assigning the function the value of -1. So if the string you're looking for could not be found, then the function retains the value. So the idea here is that we're going to end, if we can't find this string here, from here, then that will generate an error. We had a default value, though, even before we ran this part of the code, where we assigned GetUnitsLeft -1. So that's there already. Then we come down to, but the error gets generated, so we come down to here, and then what follows this is just end the function. So none of the other stuff happens, but the function has the value -1, and the error doesn't cause the program to crash. Okay, that's it.